Hello everyone, this is hellfire-gamer, and I guess my last video about bullet recipes got a fair amount of views, and I got a lot of questions about, how do I make bullets, what bullets are most useful to me, some general questions about the stats and the stuff I use. So I guess this video is more to cover some of the outstanding questions I have, so I don't have to type them out in responses to each individual person, and hopefully this can be a help to a larger number of people. So, first of all, I guess as far as what do I use, oh, that's not my correct build anyway, give me a second. I guess I was experimenting with another one of my that's correct, yes. Alright. Anyhow, for my weapons, I normally stick with the long blade. I've been trying to level up the short blade, the wild sword level 10, just because it has hold on it, and that's a pretty good skill, but long blades serve me pretty well. I use the reinforced blade for that. Really the only thing you're going to run into with the reinforced blade is the things that are, weak to divine are going to give you some trouble on that. But that's what we have bullets for, right? And for that I use the Keening cannon. A lot of people said I can't find that in the list. Where is it? It's actually down here in the shopkeeper. For some reason it's not craftable. You can upgrade it once you buy it, but you have to actually buy the sounding cannon from the shopkeeper down here, and I don't know why they did that, but it's the only unique gun in the shop besides the Kurogane stuff, and it does turn out to be pretty awesome. So it's even modifier, both ones turn out the same as any other gun that's even modifiers, but I just like the look of it, and that's why I went with it. The shield, I use the barbed pistol. That is one of the rank 15 special shields you unlock. You'll have to go through one of the special missions at the end. I believe it's in the holiday pack, though don't quote me on that. It's a buckler shield, and it's fast. It has a lot of defense for a buckler. And as you can see there, I don't really have any issues with any of the gear. So as far as what skills I have on my actual weapons, for the reinforced blade, I go with resolution 10, steadfast 10, reserve 10, and deadly blow. So, those, no particular order on any of those. You can really swap them around. I don't have any issues with that setup. With the Keening cannon, I go with Grand Reaper 10, Gun Soul 10, Troubled Heroes 10, and Embers 10. And especially Gun Soul and Embers, those are really, really nice. I believe Grand Reaper, I can't remember off the top of my head what that gives me. I'll have to look through here in a second. But Barbed Pistol, Surprise Attack 10, Explosion 10, Bombardier 10, and Aggressive 10. Really, Bombardier 10 can go for any of these weapons, but it is almost a perfect skill in my book. So if you're going to get any of these out of the 16, definitely get Bombardier 10. If you're a gun user, especially a blast cannon, that will come in super useful. As far as my other upgrade unit goes, I go with Thor. A lot of people interchange that. I mean, really, you can go with like your Blood Arts up, or really anything you want. I just don't have a use because I have a whole lot of overlap skills if I go with anything else. And I like the HP vision, so I know when I don't have to crank out my high damage bullets, I can sort of cut back and save on that. For my other ones, I go with Symbol of Durability and Symbol of Dexterity because they're all level 10s, and especially Durability gives you that level 10 triple time for your health, your stamina, and your Oracle. So that is a huge one to have there. For your other one, it depends if you're a good melee guy or not. I tend to use my sword a fair chunk, though I do use my gun a lot as well. And your Sword Master and your all-out attack come in really, really helpful for that. So that is something to keep in mind. Let's have a look here. As far as bullets go, what bullets do I use that have helped me out the most? That's a tough one. I have a lot of bullets, and they're all pretty useful. Some of them are kind of flashy, and they don't do a lot of damage. I just made them, you know, for the hell of it. But let's see. Which ones would I classify as most useful? Okay, well first off, probably these HDH bullets are what I use 99% of the time. HDH is head direct hit. When you fire these, it puts a tracking orb on top of the monster, and then several other explosions happen immediately afterwards. And as long as you get that first hit, the rest never miss, and it just tears apart anything that has a weak point on the top of it. So you're looking at things like the Sekhmets, the Chiyus, you know, Garms, Marduks, anything with a weak point on the top of it, especially drawing a blank on the name right now. Scorpion ones. For some reason, must be too early in the morning, can't remember it, but tears those apart as well. You look at it here, it takes almost no OP, does about 15,000 points of damage. So if you're looking for cost-effective damage, you can't get much better than that. And you can just spam them over and over. These are the single most useful bullets I have used in the game. I'll show you the recipe for these. And obviously, if you see the recipe for one, it is the same recipe for all the other elements. Basically, anywhere you see something that isn't a deco shot. Deco shots, for those that don't know or haven't used the bullet editor a lot, they do no damage. They're just a setup shot. So if they're a different element, that doesn't really matter. The only thing you have to remember are the degrees up top and the chips on the right-hand side. So let's walk through this a little bit. You start out with your deco laser curve mid, plus 77 degrees. Alright, second step, make sure it's a half a second after one. If you don't know how to do these chips on the side here, you go up and you click on this little tab here, and then you have a whole bunch of other lists. You can say with a shot, after a shot, certain amount of time after a shot, when one hits an ally, if you're making heal bullets, things like that. So I'm just going to walk through this. I won't talk through it all because it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll scroll down through it slowly. For these HDH, you're going to get the most damage out of it if you use anti-grav, this chip on the right. If you don't have it yet, that's probably because your bullet is not level 9 yet. Your gun, you'll see it says BBLV, blood bullet level, up on the top right there. Mine's maxed out at level 9. With a blast gun, with any gun, the more you use it, the more you level up your blood bullet level. And then eventually, each level you go up, you get different chips for that bullet. So eventually at level 9 you'll get anti-grav, which adds some more damage to this. Alright. So I'm just going to scroll down through a little slowly. You might have to go back and pause the video. Make sure you have the numbers correct, that's alright. And then I'll scroll back up one more time. And with this you don't need any friend or foe, because once it hits, it sticks to the enemy. You don't have to worry about friendly fire. For other shots I'm going to show you, yeah, you're going to have to put some friendly fire on it so you don't stagger everyone else if you're playing in multiplayer. That is a huge pet peeve of mine when people don't put that on their AoE bullets. So please remember to do that. Let's see. So HDH Blaze, that is the most useful bullet in the game right there. Probably the most cost effective. Earlier on, if you're looking for something and you don't have all of those chips to use, you can probably use these, which are AoE bullets. I have them named all kinds of different things. You can name them whatever you want, I don't really care. But these have anti-grav right here, but it's not super necessary. You only get a couple, maybe 1,000 points of damage added on afterwards. So Friend or foe is a big one though on this. With this bomb blast on the bottom, you have to put friend or foe on. Have to if you're playing with other people, or you're going to knock them out of the way. But I'm going to scroll down through here real quick, and then I'll show you off what it does. Basically, it's an AoE shot that spawns on the tip of your gun and traces in an arc around you. So anything standing around you within, oh, I don't know, probably the distance of a Vajra, probably the full length of its body, you're going to hit it, and it's going to do, depending on your gun, probably around 8,000 points of damage, which is pretty good earlier on. This one is, again, able to be made without that anti-grav shot and still be used to a decent effect. So, alright, and again, if you need that recipe, just pause the video and go back in. We're going to have a look at what this does. So you can see here, it spawns on the tip and then arcs around me. And what it does is it uses that anti-grav and these arcs up above to basically trick the bullet into thinking it has traveled for a very long distance when it actually hasn't. So you see a lot of these swirls that my bullets do. That's me just tricking the distance. So obviously I want this to be an AoE on me, and so I can't have it go way up, I can't have it go way out, so I just have it, you know, do swirls over my head and then come back down. And so if we move this up here, you'll see it does a fair bit of damage. It's going to do less damage for you if you have an earlier version of your gun. Keep in mind this does do crushing, so if you have, let's say the C Sarah, which has the best crushing modifier on the game, you're going to get more damage out of this bullet. But it's good for anything that's around you, so if you get mobbed, spam that a few times, knock them out. And I used that before I got the HDH, which really do benefit from the anti-grav. Let's see, double down. I don't find these bullets to be super useful. I got this recipe from Mayo-sama. If you haven't checked out any of her videos, well, his or her, I don't know, you should definitely do that. Same thing, it tricks the distance by swirling up above your head and bound across. You can't lock on with this bullet, and it does just sort of go, caps out about that distance there. But it does a fair bit of damage back to back, and it's a good starting bullet. I'm not sure how much of a benefit you lose with the anti-grav being missing on it, but as far as being OP efficient, it is another one of those that is on par with HDH. The only problem is it doesn't lock on or track, so you have to be pretty good at aiming it. Let's have a look at the recipe for that. So, all these ones up top, these are all just the deco shots. You don't have to worry about the element on these if you're trying to swap them out. This, again, we're just swirling above our heads, tricking out that distance. And then we go for our shots down on the bottom. It does use anti-grav. It looks like it uses 2 steps of anti-grav, so you are going to lose probably good half your damage if you don't have that anti-grav on your bullets. So, but this is the recipe for the double beat, double down, double beat, depending on how you hear people say it. Generally they mean the same thing. These ones are kind of a cool bullet that I use, the rain bullets. They tend to pierce through and hit a whole bunch of different weak points in the Narigami, so you'll see they spawn kind of above my shoulder here, and they fire out a whole bunch of lasers. I've heard this one called a whole bunch of different names. Gate of Babylon, Homing Rain, Burning Rain, Colorful Lasers. They're all generally the same bullet. I think they all pretty much use the exact same recipe as well. I may have a few different degrees of difference on mine, but the theory is the exact same. So they do a lot of damage. They're not as OP efficient as some of the other bullets I use, but they look really cool and they're spammable. So The only thing is, if you're firing it indoors, where that orb is going to spawn, if you have your back too close to a wall, you're going to find they won't fire. So, something to keep in mind on that. I'll go ahead and show you the recipe for that one. Again, you have a couple deco shots in here. Don't worry about those for the elements. The only thing you're going to want are your control shots and your damage shots. So, actually, I take that back. You don't even need those with the control shots, I believe. So, yeah, and this, if it wasn't obvious, uses a whole bunch of anti-grav. So, not too bad. The 1 degree difference on here is purely there because I was getting some colliding issues in the past. You probably don't need those if you lay out your bullet differently, but if you lay them out like mine is, which I'm assuming if you're watching this video you're probably going to do that, make sure you have the 1 degree on these. Alright, so that's the rain bullets. You can obviously convert them into any different element you want. This one right here is really good on downed enemies or enemies that are feeding. I don't use it a whole lot, but if you have hidden attack and things like exterminator to amp the damage on this, you're going to find it really, really useful. It does crush damage, I believe, and so you're going to want to use the EATER cannon if you're going to be using this bullet primarily. Basically, it's a counterclock that sticks to the front of your gun and then fires off a shot all at once, and you can see it does a ton of damage. So, if you get a hidden attack on an enemy, and if your enemy's a non-target, you're going to be doing, 99,000 damage on something if you hit it in a weak point. So, it's a really, really good bullet to use when your enemy's unaware. It's not very cost efficient, but you're not really going for cost efficiency, you're going for single target, single output damage. So, you can fire a whole bunch of them at once too, and I don't really know why you'd want to, because you lose the benefit after one shot, but it will work to just fire them. And again, that's a crushing bullet, so if you want the max damage out of that, use the EATER blast cannon, and you'll find that works out pretty well. So we'll give you the recipe for that one. And I'll just sort of scroll down through this pretty slow. Anti-grav is a huge must for this, or you're going to get almost no damage. So don't attempt to make this bullet without anti-grav. I'll say that right now. Because all that time where the bullet's just sort of sticking on the front of your gun is the time where it's doing its shit in midair. So, gonna scroll down through this. Again, pay careful attention to the links on the side here, especially steps 5, 6, and 7. These are not after 4 and 5. These are sort of, with 5, both of these on the bottom. So. Alright, I'll scroll back up through. Now this OP cost, you'll see it says 235 OP cost. Again, if you have frugal and you have trigger happy, you can cut that down by a lot. So that is something to keep in mind. Those are probably the main bullets I use. I'll scroll down through here, see if I find any other ones that are really useful. Yeah, you know what, I'll go over Quick Meteor. I don't use this one a whole lot either. Really, I only use this if I'm in Blood Rage and I have unlimited OP, so I can just spam it over and over. And I think really the only fight I use this one on is the Crimson Orochi, but Quick Meteor, it just comes up, hits down, does a whole bunch of damage. So, not OP efficient, but if you get your pledges in right for Blood Rage, you can just spam it over and over and end the fight really quickly. So, keep that in mind. You can swap the elements out, use them on whatever you want. But the ice bullets are what I use for the Orochi. I will show you the recipe for that one. Pretty easy bullet. Not much to really talk about on that one. Fires it straight up in the air. Comes straight down, hits and does a whole bunch of damage. So, really easy stuff. Alright, I think I already covered these in my previous video, so I'm not going to go over the orbital shots again. If you want that, just scroll down through my videos and look for my other God Eater bullet recipe video. I think I have a whole bunch of modified stuff in here that I probably don't really remember what I've done, but the ones I've covered are the ones you're going to really want, especially the HDH, your rain shots, and your quick meteor are probably going to be the main ones you use. So I'm going to real quick go into my loadout, show you the skills I have. And in no particular order, I'm just going to scroll down, and that way if you're looking to make a build or trying to sort of buff out your build with some different skills, you can use this as reference. So it might take me a little bit to scroll down through my well, let's see, I have like 16 different skills on just the guns alone. I mean the guns and the swords, and they all have 4 each, so there's a fair amount of skills to be put into this. Alright, and that about covers all the skills I have on my build. Covers what I use, what bullets I use. Really, I think that's about all you need to know for God Eater to do well, so hopefully this helps out some people. And if you have any more questions, obviously, just let me know, and I will do my best to answer them. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.